So if you've been following my social channels lately, you've probably noticed a long video I did on Doug Hopkins, one of my favorite songwriters and guitarists who was fired by the Gin Blossoms, the band that he founded during the recording of their first album. That album, New Miserable Experience, went on to great success with two huge hit singles which were both written by Doug. He went on to kill himself not long after, and the band was obviously never the same without him. Just got me thinking of a few other bands who lost their guitarist for various reasons and how they ended up dealing with that. So keep watching or scrolling or searching depending on the platform you're watching this on. So after the huge success of Appetite for Destruction and the enormous world tours that followed it, quiet, unassuming guitarist Izzy Stradlin, who was instrumental in the band's founding and whom many considered to be the heart of the band, and who was also one of the main songwriters in it, decided that he was still going to be a part of the band but not hang around its members anymore. For the first time in many years, Izzy was sober, and many of Guns N' Roses members at the time were far from it. To be fair, Izzy had a serious head start on them, so there's that. By the way, Izzy's bandmate Duff McKagan's book, his first book, It's So Easy and Other Lies, is easily one of the best autobiographies I've ever read in music or otherwise. I really recommend it. Link in bio if you want to check that out. One can perhaps surmise a thing or two about the intra-band relationships, perhaps about Izzy being the only one in the band who could check Axl, based on how events transpired over the next few years. Bernard Butler and Suede had a true classic on their hands with Suede's debut album. Unfortunately, by the time they were recording the second album, they pretty much all hated Bernard Butler, and he pretty much hated all of them, and was eventually fired before that album was even completed. Suede did make itself heard every now and again with some huge hits, but I don't think there's any doubt it was not the same band anymore. While Butler continued making music but never really found any mainstream audience. Meanwhile, John Frusciante has left the Red Hot Chili Peppers 3 or 4 times by now. I've literally lost count. Each time the band was obviously worse for it. The first time he quit was easily the worst, as John was slowly getting fed up with everything going around the band and the success that it was achieving, and especially with Anthony Kiedis, the lead singer of the Peppers. He finally left to pursue a career in drugs and self-destruction, while the Peppers replaced him with an even more disturbed guitarist. Dave Navarro lasted one album, a pretty good one at that, with a couple of huge hits. By now, the Peppers' career is basically hanging around, waiting for John to change his mind and come back, which he inevitably does. If you're wondering, he is currently with the band as of just a few months ago.